Good morning, everybody. It's Marty, the JavaScript Party. I'm my buddy Rhett. Here we go. I'm in Marietta, Georgia. That was a nut for Rhett. If you don't know, if you haven't watched before, we're in Marietta, Georgia. It is December 13th, 2025. I am actually going to be going into my job. I usually work from home. I'm a remote employee on Monday. And since that is the case, I will be probably won't do a show on Monday. So if I think there's like two people that watch pretty regularly, so that's why there won't be a show on Monday. Nothing to worry about. So I am working on a ThreeJS project, and I was just thinking about it, how I've been like kind of playing around with ThreeJS for more than 10 years. I feel like my daughter is, in her late 30s, and I feel like she was maybe not even a teenager when I first started trying to do stuff in ThreeJS. And I have built some really neat things in ThreeJS, but they were all like monsters, right? I would like build it out, and then when I was done, it was just like, I can't make changes. I don't know how this works. I just wrote a bunch of code, and it doesn't work. And all that. So last year I tried to do exactly what I'm working on this year, and I built out something that would allow me to make really cool visualizations. But like anytime I would try to do any sort of maintenance or anything on it, it would just was totally unpredictable. Sometimes I'd be like, this next thing feature I want to add, or this thing I want to fix, is going to probably take me 2 weeks, and it would take 2 months. Then the next time I'd be like, okay, this thing's going to take me 2 weeks, and it would take 2 hours. I just could not make sense of what I had built. And that is the normal. That is not unusual. And that is one thing people just don't realize about software development, is it is very, very easy to build stuff that you don't understand, and then get to a certain point where you just can't do anything with it. And that is more the rule than the exception. And it happens a lot more if you work with other people, and if you work as part of an organization where you don't even really quite understand the domain and stuff. That is the thing. But so basically, that is one of the things I really want to avoid this time. And I've spent a whole year, I haven't really built much, not from a view. But I think one of the most important things that I built this time is, and I don't have my console up now, the tools up, so it won't do on the debugger. I have a debugger statement because we had one yesterday that did that. Oh, this is interesting. So I told it to do a console log, and it console logged the objects, but not the table. And the object is actually much more useful. The table was very, very useful. But see, we have this, and this isn't quite perfect yet. I guess it'll never be perfect, but it's not as good as I can visualize now. But as you see, our very first thing is a renderer, and it has a renderer ID, and it has a scene ID, and it has a camera ID. I remember the very first week of this project that I'm working on, I was just like, wait a second, a scene isn't the top thing, a renderer is the top thing? I've been working with ThreeJS for 10 years, and I wasn't aware of that one simple fact. I built amazing things, and I wasn't aware that, and now it's just clear as day. A renderer, we know this is a renderer because it's got its own renderer ID. We don't even know that it's a renderer, see, so it would be really nice to actually have a type. And that'll probably be the next thing I work on. But anyways, so you can see I have this one null, and I have this code here that will, it's 7, and it's consistently 7. If I refresh, it'll always be number 7 for now. It's just it's probably not always going to work that way, but at this point in time, the way everything's built out, it is very reliable. And so I added this little thing. If next ID is equal to 7, then launch the debugger. And that actually, for a little while, that was the only way to get a debugger, is to actually write the word debugger. I want to say that was probably like in 2004, 2003, something like that. There was a short amount of time where you could not get to the debugger without actually having the debugger statement in there. Then they got to where you could do a console and you could debug. You could go to the code and you could debug from there. But generally, the code was like minified in some way, so you couldn't really, not really. And man, it's gotten so much better. But, anyways, if I refresh now and I leave my window up because I have this debugger, and I did want to just say out loud that I take all that for granted now, that I have such a deep understanding of the layers of how all these things fit together. But that took a year. That was a lot of hard work to get there. And so now if somebody else, like in a week or maybe 3 days, they could get up to speed. If they pulled this code down, it's all in GitHub, and they played around in there and they looked at that, they could put it all together and really have a really good, solid understanding in a week. And it took me a year to get there, you know. So like, and that's how progress is made. There's us all kind of helping each other. Now it seems like we get to a certain point where everything's really good, and then everyone starts trying to cheapen it. Oh, okay. Well, I could still accomplish the same thing, but we can remove this little piece. Oh, we can move that little piece, and then that's how we end up with junk. And then that's how you end up with all these conspiracies where everyone's like, how could they make things so good at that time and not be able to make things today? And it's like, well, look at cars. You look at cars that were made in like the 1940s and the 1950s and compare them today. I have an antique sewing machine that my grandmother used to always use back in the early 70s, and it was an antique then. I think it was from like the 1940s, and that thing, you'll still be able to sew with that thing in 100 years. You'll still be able to sew with that thing probably in 1,000 years. But a sewing machine made today probably would never last more than maybe 10 years. You know, so I mean that's just how it works. But anyways, I'm gonna hit add, and the debugger will fire up. And so what I'm trying to figure out is, why am I getting this null? And so one cool thing that you get is you get this stack here, and you can actually, and I believe you could even rerun it. Like you can actually make the code run again from there on the stack. I'm not 100% sure, but I see that this was on line SQL service line 53 or 33, line 33, which we see right here. And then and this is my console, the dev tools in Chrome, but I can click here and it'll say, oh, this is where it got called. And I can immediately see where I screwed up here. And boy, is this a crazy bug too, because I create a renderer ID, something called renderer ID, then I create an animation ID, and then I use my animation ID and I return this renderer ID that doesn't even point at anything. And it's so clear as day, but it wouldn't be if, like, this bug would be damn near impossible to fix if I didn't have the console logs that has the structure, and if I didn't see that there was a null one that doesn't make sense. And this would cause so many weird problems because I'm pretty sure I need to return the animation ID, not the renderer ID. So, because it's like literally this is a variable. So anyways, so I think that's what we want to do. We want to go to animation service and go to line 118, and we want to delete it, and then we want to return the animation ID. That seems like the right thing to do. Now maybe we could also sort of do some like investigation work and figure out, okay, if I actually get the animation ID back properly, do I have some other code that is dependent on having the wrong thing? Like, is everything gonna work? But I don't really need to, and the reason I don't need to is because I have end-to-end tests. So if there's something wrong, the end-to-end test will flush it right out. But because I've done a really, really good job of end-to-end testing, and I am a believer in end-to-end testing now. So anyways, let's do this. Let's go to animation service. And animation service is going to be in my services. And I think I have like a 3 set of services. I don't remember, but let's go. It's good to work your memory. Oh, I have an entities. That's right. And then we have animation, and there's our animation service. All right. So first things first. Let's. What line was that? That was line 117. 117, 117, 118. All right. So let's just delete this. Boom, 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 boom. Let's go back to my room. Hey there. Hey there, darling. Brett's doing really good. It is beautiful today. It is 58 degrees out there Fahrenheit, which is absolutely gorgeous, especially because we've been conditioned for like 40s for like the last 2 weeks. But it's supposed to get so cold tonight. It's supposed to get like 15 degrees Fahrenheit, which I think is like minus 9 degrees Celsius. And then I think the high tomorrow is only supposed to be like 28 degrees. So here, because of the way our construction is done and all that, we have to like turn off water, cover our things outside, and have some water running all the time so that our pipes don't blow up. And by blow up, I mean they just burst and you get leaks. Shush. You get leaks, and so I have to make sure I do that tonight. One of my son's best friends is a plumber, and he's probably gonna make a lot of money tomorrow because a lot of people are gonna get leaks. It just happens every year, so he knows to get his sleep tonight because tomorrow's Sunday, and it's gonna be a busy day for him. All right, so I deleted that, and we do need to get rid of that debugger statement, and that was. What did I do? Oh, I guess I ran it out. I think I'm still in the. Oh, I'm not in the. Yeah, I'm in the sources. Oh, it refreshed because I changed the code. Okay, so this is in recyclable sequence service line 33. So we're going to get rid of that code. So I do not think that falls under entities. That's probably utilities. That makes sense to me. And there's the code. So let's get rid of that. We still want to do the console. I think I think all we want is the log now. I don't think the table is doing us any good. I think the log is pretty good though. But we'll see. Maybe table does give us some benefit, so we'll try it out. I really do miss the days that, like, people used to put really cool stuff. Yeah, I feel like this is actually more useful. And actually, like with the table, I was like, I don't want it over and over again, but I actually kind of like it here. It is fascinating that all these sequences get created before, and there are nulls, and then everything gets assigned. I would never have guessed that. And they don't everything, so 7 doesn't get assigned. What? What is your problem? All right. What? What's your problem? All right. So I think that's a lot better. So I think this is a good time to actually do a commit. A code. Our first round of commits. I tried to do commits in 3 rounds. First one will be a code complete commit, and then the second one will be ideally under ideal circumstances, and then the second one will be a unit test complete commit, and then the third will be a super commit, which is with the Cypress. Sometimes there isn't all 3, but I don't want to push until it's at a point where I feel like, okay, you can roll back. So I'll make commits before I'm not, and if I know for a fact that if it's a Cypress, I know for a fact I'll call it a super commit. I think I came up with some other scheme last time. Let's see. So this is, you can hit the F up button and you can see your last commit. So this is a unit test. See, I put in parentheses super because I knew I didn't need any new changes to the end-to-end tests. But I know I'm going to need, at the very least, I'm going to need unit test change, because I think we'll have some broken unit tests would be my guess, because I got rid of this. And speaking of that, let's get rid of this. It's so funny. So after I finish this video, I will save it, upload it to YouTube, and all that. And she'll be dead quiet that whole time. She won't say a thing. She only makes all this noise when we're on video. But oddly enough, if I drop into a flow state, which every once in a while I will, even on these videos, she gets dead quiet. Like, she gets into the flow state as well, it appears. That's my guess as to why that's happening. Alright, so we made changes there. So basically, I'm just looking for smells, right? I'm looking for console logs, anything that's just obvious. And I'm also kind of keeping my eye out for anything. I love you too. For anything that might trigger a unit test and be difficult to unit test. I've definitely changed my coding style and kind of come up with some new rules of software development based on the unit tests. Hi there, Rhett. And I have to admit, I know that her making all that noise is not good for the video or for the watchers, but it is so easy to get furious when you're coding and someone interrupts you. And man, you want to talk about a way to really damage your relationship with your fellow coders. Get furious in that state, or man, that's something you got to get control of, and that is something she's done for me. Is she's made it to where I know how to process interruption in a practical way. What is? Okay, that's just unit tests. Yeah, I like all the changes. I got rid of that. So it's kind of interesting if you think about it, because now it sees just one line change or two lines change instead of it commented it out. I really need to just probably do like a video series on Git. That is the secret sauce to being valuable in a job. Okay, so this is going to be video 334, and basically it was all about refactoring. Are we refactoring for the association refactoring. Okay, so this refactors all entities. This is a code commit. It's probably not super. It might be, but I don't think it is. Oh, so this is the completes. To use the sequence generator. Association. Probably won't make any sense in the future. You know, I think we have to be really in this context. So this is what I always do, so I'm just going to do it. Now, git add. I always do a commit before I stage it. And you stage it by using the add command. I don't know why we don't add it. We stage it. I don't know why we don't use stage command. Git stage dot. I have no idea how we screwed up this language so bad, but it is screwed up.
Wow.
And I used to sort of try to fight things like that, like, okay, I'm just going to call it staging. But, then that just further confuses everybody, including myself, so now I'm going to hit the upkey and that. Right. We are not pushing this because I'm not sure. npm run test. So this should run all my unit tests. We want all the existing unit tests to pass. It kind of looks like they might, because when I renamed that function, it actually, when I did that search, I actually ended up changing it. So it went to pass in the past. In the past, it went to pass because historically those went to pass, because normally I don't do a search that way when I rename stuff. So I just kind of let the transpiler catch it and then fix it that way. Now, I did want to, since I like to sort of think about things and talk about things while I'm waiting for these like unit tests and stuff to build. And I know a lot of times people will cut that out or fast forward. I don't really like the cutting out part, because a lot of times when you cut it out, then you find a bug and then you fix it, and then you're like, oh shoot, I forgot to get that in the video, and now something has magically changed. And anybody who might be trying to follow along or whatever, you're basically lying to them. And I don't really like to fast forward through them, because while that would be more entertaining for you, it does sort of hide the fact that this is a reality. Learning how to cope with slow running things is an important skill to pick up. And this, I don't freaking care about entertaining you. I just want you to know how I code, how someone who has coded codes. All right, so we do have, they're all passing, and we have 100%. All right, so that is good. So we are not going to have to do that. So the next one we're going to do is npm run Cypress. All right. I'm just going to type CLS for clear screen. npm run Cypress and open. And this will launch Cypress, and the reason it works is Control P, package. If you go to my package program for this project, and this is the only project in this folder, so close others. Anytime I go to package, I try to close other. We have these commands up here, and this is the one we are running right now, Cypress open. I know I've worked with developers who have literally been developers for 5 or 10 years and did not know where these scripts exist. And man, talk about being just like one of those eye-opening experiences for people when they've been working for years and years and had no idea that you could actually run things through this. So that is one of those realities. But my son was telling me about a friend of his who wrote a whole bunch of code with ChatGPT, and now he's got like this monster of a application that is thousands, tens of thousands, maybe even tens of thousands, 10,000 plus lines of code. And he doesn't know how it works or what it does, and it's not working, and he's not quite sure how to fix it, and he's going round and round with ChatGPT, cannot get it working. And I mean, I I have decades of experience coding, and I have found myself in that exact same situation. That's why I never let ChatGPT write more than maybe like one little section of code, and I go section by section by section. Um, so I do think it's very similar to like using ChatGPT to fly an airplane, and then you're up 30,000 feet, and then like it doesn't know what to do at that point, and now you're up in the airplane 30,000 feet. And I think these sorts of issues sort of hit programmers first. So we have a new technology. It's a brand new technology. It's going to get into everything. But programmers tend to adopt these things first. And programmers are constantly hitting brick walls with these things. And it's just like, that's going to happen. I do not foresee any issues with this. I don't think it's going to break anything. Wish there was like a clearer way to tell. So this has like 2-second waits in between, and that's why it takes a long time. Oh yeah, and this is where we have our fail. As you notice, the aspect ratio did not get fixed on this. And that is a bug that I need to fix, but I think I'm just going to keep following down these data analysis structure rabbit holes until they play themselves out. Probably mostly, more than anything, is because it is fascinating me and I'm enjoying it. I cannot be the only person who ever wanted to build something like this, and I don't see one. Like if you look at like these multi-billion-dollar corporations, and they have these little icons, and they're garbage. You know, they don't look good at all, and it's just like, obviously, there's no good way to build those things. I mean, they can be built. Like if you watch a movie, at the beginning of most movies, they have really, really cool 3D sorts of icons and visualizations and stuff like that. But you don't see those like whatever news you go to when you go look at their website. They don't have a cool visual 3D kind of thing, you know, going. So I would like to build that. That's what I'm hoping that we can get, you know, out of this. So that did in fact become a super commit. So I'm going to push it. I wonder if I should. I guess what I can do, since I haven't pushed it yet, I can always change. I could always undo the last commit and then redo it and put a commit. So I believe I can do git reset head. I feel like that's a bad name. I don't know what a better name would be. Like git undo last would probably be better. I think by default it's soft, but if I put -- hard, it would literally just delete it. Man, I remember I once had all this code working just so perfectly, and this dude, this gigantic Russian guy I used to work with, he was just like, oh, no, do it like this, do it like that. And so we made some changes and stuff, and then he was like kind of jerking me around, and then he completely messed it all up. He's like, okay, no, hang on, and he did git reset hard, and like literally deleted all my code from my -1 hard from my last commit, and he was just like, oh, I'm so sorry. It taken me like 2 weeks to write that last commit, and then but then it was funny because I was able to redo it all better in an hour. So, and a lot of times people will say the best code is not written, it's rewritten, and I think that is true. And unfortunately, you really can't do that at work for the most part. So basically, I just undid the last thing. I believe they're all staged still. So if I say get status, no, no, they're completely unstaged. So I'm going to say get add dot, and then that will stage them. And then I'll hit the up button, and we'll go find my, what? Why isn't my last commit still in there? Oh, maybe it was on a different, is it here? Code commit. Super. So that means that I feel very comfortable pushing or rolling back to this code. I think this code is solid. All right. So I think so. There's a couple things that rabbit holes that kind of appeared on this, and one of them was that so when I do this here, why did I do that? Okay, I got really weird there. npm start. So when I look at it, I could see that there's one entity that is keeping a reference to a object, and I definitely want to undo that. So that's one thing. The other thing is, now we're up and running. I feel like there's no rhyme or reason why it's so much faster sometimes. F12. When I add this and I look at, so we don't know what this is. We can't tell. I mean, we can kind of tell because the very first ID is what it is. So we know that this is a renderer because the very first one. But we really need a more a better way. And one thing I do like is, I think everything. Oh no, so that's deleted. So it is wild though. Like, I wonder why the ST renderer, why the ID is first. Like, how does it know to make that first? I think maybe because in the TypeScript it's the first thing. I don't know, but I would love to have a type on there. So that's one rabbit hole, and that's probably the next thing I'm going to do, because I think that's going to be very helpful for me. And then it might not be. See this, I do not want anything like this anymore. Like, these objects are okay because they're very limited, but I don't want this because of the risk of a memory leak. So I just don't want any. I want to update the 3Mesh service. I believe there's a 3JS mesh service to have a dictionary that has this 3Mesh, and I will just want to have the 3Mesh ID, which is 4, and I want to be able to just say, hey, for number 4, can you get me the 3Mesh? Now the thing is, with meshes, what's going to be tricky with meshes is, well, okay, so this is an animation. Is this? I don't even know what this is. What number 4 is? Now that I think about it, what is number 4? So it's a list of animations. Okay. I guess if I close it up, will it show me? I guess, okay, so this is a mesh. Oh, and it has, these are the animations that have been applied to this mesh. And yes, so this will probably be able to be, there'll probably be more than one mesh, 3JS mesh for a given mesh, it's ST mesh. So the idea is, if I have multiple visualizations and I want 2 identical meshes in both of them, like you can't reuse the same ThreeJS mesh, but I want that's a concept that I want to exist on the ST side, but it doesn't exist in the 3 side. The idea of reusing a mesh in multiple places doesn't exist. It's a mesh is in one renderer. They don't have the concept of this mesh is. I don't think they have it. This mesh exists in multiple renderers, and so if I want that to happen, I have to make that happen on the ST side. And that will make things like eclipses and stuff like that easier to do, because I could say, okay, I have a camera and it's sitting over the top, and these are the meshes, and I have the exact same meshes over here, but I have a camera that's sitting on the moon, and these are the exact same meshes over here, but I have a camera that's sitting on Earth, and I want to see what Earth looks like from the moon during a eclipse, and what the sun looks like from the Earth and the moon looks like from the Earth, that kind of thing. So this needs to be updated. I think that's the only one. I think when we looked through, that was the only one. Oh no, we have that same problem with materials. And then this is actually a component, so I don't really have any power. I mean, I do have power over this, but you know, the component that's going to be the exception. And so that's the new rabbit hole. So that's the second rabbit hole, is to refactor these so that they're not keeping references to the actual 3JS objects. And then the other rabbit hole is because really what we're supposed to be working on is update. We're doing an update, and we haven't even gotten to where you can update things, because we're working on CRUD, and probably like a month and a half ago I'd got to update, and I've been working through it, and then basically what happened was I added this, and then I went to this view, and then I deleted it. Oh no, I hit update, and then I came back over here and came back to this view, and I deleted. And let's go ahead and clear this, because this is actually going to be useful. And then I did add and update, and I was like, what the hell? Why is this not 1? And it is wild because it's 2. So I'm thinking that this, it's not that that it deleted C's. So there used to be, or in the beginning there was like 9. Now we have 16. So we still have like old renderers that, like, we have 2 renderers. We have renderer ID 1 and renderer ID 2. And renderer ID 1 is pointed to scene 3. But we only have one thing, and renderer ID 2 is pointed to scene 12. And so scene 3 still exists, right? This is a classic memory leak, right? Because this object still exists, and it doesn't refer to anything. Here's another one that currently exists that doesn't refer to anything. The thing it refers to is long gone. So it's like an artifact. And it's just literally consuming memory and not having anything back. So anyways, so that's how I determined it, but I didn't have this to look at. So now I have this to look at, so it'll be a lot easier, like at the end of the delete, to just have console log, have the animation thing console log all of these objects, not the animation thing, the recycle system console log all the objects, and make sure that everything's deleted, and then I think at that point I think I can officially say delete is actually complete. See, we kind of half-baked delete because we didn't know enough, but we were actually on the verge. Getting pretty close to being able to actually be done with delete. I don't think it'll be done this year, because I think that this getting rid of these ThreeJS things, and this is actually a perfect example. Oh my God, this is the perfect example. This three material object is huge. It's a gigantic object. It still exists, and it doesn't refer to anything. The actual ThreeJS object doesn't exist anymore, but here it is, and it should be gone. And it's probably a pretty big. It's got listeners, so it's got code that's running, so it's using CPU. See, it needs to be disposed of, but it can't because this thing has a reference to it. This object still has a reference to it, so we need to delete this object. So that's perfect. This is a perfect example of a memory leak. So we got to get that squared away, because this, like, I want to be able to be like, oh, I'm using like something like, there's like a library called Perlin Noise, which is kind of like a randomization thing, and so like we could say, oh, I want to make thousands of these things and I want them to be random and all that. But the problem is, and then like maybe have an animation where the camera flies through it, and it's like oh, we're going in a black hole. Like somebody once asked me, hey, can we use ThreeJS to make like a black hole effect? So yeah, that could be like a black hole, but you'd probably you don't want to try to code every single position, so you're like, I'll make it random. Problem is, random is usually what you don't want, because random can just be in your way. It could, like all that, but it doesn't have like a natural feel to it. It's just like very all over the place. But Perlin Noise will make like it appears random, but it's not. There actually is some relationship to them, which would probably be a better thing. Well, I might want to do a Perlin Noise where I make 10,000 of these things, or 1,000 at a time, and then as we move through, I delete them and to recapture the memory. But if I have all these, in 30 seconds, I could end up with 100 million, a billion objects, and that memory leak will just crush the computer. So, anyways, that's why we have to really get delete right. And that is probably one of the things that kills most ThreeJS projects, I would guess, is people end up making references to the ThreeJS objects themselves, and then ThreeJS can't delete them, and then because you've kept a reference to it, and then it bogs down the whole system, and there's no visualization like this to even see it. So you're just like, I don't know, for some reason. Whenever that happens, just refresh, and then you can work for another hour or two. Anyways, that is that. Have a wonderful day. Tomorrow we will, what was it? We will, add the types. So each one of these will have a type, and it'll probably be, hopefully, I think this thing is rendering these things based on whatever is first in the TypeScript. So I'm going to put that type first, because I want the side effect of it being first over here. And I don't really give a crap what anybody else thinks of that decision. And then because it's going to be good for me, and that's what this is all about. Now I hope some people, a few people here or there actually benefit from this. But anyways, happy coding. Bye.